This book was supposed to be a mystery, but the only mystery I had is why it was so bad. Hello Antler everybody, my name is Lucy and welcome to Books and Brushes. So today, yes, I'm doing my rant review for The 8 Pieces of Silver by Patrice Lawrence, and I am so excited to purge and get this hot mess of a book off my chest. Are you ready? I hope you're ready. So before we start with the ranting, let me just preface you if you haven't been here a lot or if you don't know me as much. But with my books, I'm pretty positive. I'm fairly easy to please. I'm not fussy. I very rarely rate a book badly because I don't like trashing, being nitpicky. Authors spend so much time and love and hard work on their books, and I just don't like trashing things. A book's okay, a book's amazing. I very rarely talk super negatively about a book. So when I hate a book, you know there be reasons. I also only pick books that I'm sure I'm going to love, and although it doesn't always pan out, very rarely do I get results this far in the dumpster. So, I know you all want to see it, so let's talk about The 8 Pieces of Silver, and oh my god, I'm having flashbacks. I got this book off of NetGalley. It is the first ever book I have received from NetGalley. That first experience did not go well, but I'm going to continue with NetGalley and try again. And I'm just going to be full out honest here about my thoughts on this book and how much I didn't like it. Awkward that my first NetGalley book was such a dumpster fire. Whoopsie. This book was supposed to be a mystery about two sisters where their parents have gone together on honeymoon and they're stepsisters and they've grown to kind of get closer, but one of the sisters has mysteriously gone missing while the parents are on honeymoon. So the other sister has to find out what happened to her. It was supposed to be a trail of clues to where she's gone and what's happened, what's going on in this girl's life, and it was supposed to be everything I wanted in a book. Spoiler alert, it isn't. Organising my thoughts for this was difficult because there's so much I want to say, but I've categorised it into certain categories of bad so that we can tackle this without just screaming, because I feel like screaming. So, it may be The 8 Pieces of Silver, but here are the 4 reasons why this book was garbage. Category 1, the punctuation and grammar. Yep, we're starting at the basics, people. Did this book have an editor? Was I accidentally slipped a first draft? Who really knows? The punctuation and grammar were god awful, and I mean like painful to read kind of awful. So the sentence structures in the book are agonising to read. It is so badly written. It makes no sense to the brain. You can't read a sentence without reading it 3 times before understanding, oh wait, it's not me just reading it stupid. The words just don't make sense on this page. Okay. At one point I showed the book to my boyfriend and he tried to read the sentence for 5 minutes before concluding that it wasn't his fault he couldn't read the sentence. Yeah, the sentences were so badly structured and written that it kind of boggled my mind. Our main character is supposed to be like down to earth or whatever this author was trying to go for. The narration would filled with ain't no, I ain't got no, I don't know what she doing kind of talk, which I get it. She's trying to make the character seem relatable and ghetto, down to earth, whatever. Do not, and I repeat, do not put horrific grammar in the narration. That goes in the dialogue, not the narration. Is that not obvious? This book is written from the first person perspective of our main character, but that does not mean that you can write the whole book like a garbage fire and expect it to be the character's personality. No, give them an actual personality instead of whatever that was. It was so horrible to read. And the punctuation as well, it matched very well. The amount of times I read a question with a full stop at the end, a 5-year-old could tell you that. I mean, I'm not talking complex grammar here. I'm talking like basic shit. This book just... Did this book have an editor? I'm really questioning this. Did it? This is like a published work through a publishing company. What are the excuses here? I don't know. Honestly, the mistakes were so basic and so entry-level writing that I don't know how this book got away with it. There was also a lot of formatting issues with the book. I read it on a Kindle through an ARC and there were a lot of formatting issues, which I would have forgiven. It's an ARC, maybe they sent me a copy and something and the formatting went a bit wrong. I would have been cool with it. But since the writing and the punctuation was so bad, as well as the rest of the book, because it was so bad, I was like, no, this is what they decided to send out to reviewers. this first draft, apparently. Did I accidentally get a first draft slipped into my Kindle? Because I sure as hell can tell you any editor should have looked at that. They should have marked up this entire thing. Literally any editor on the planet should have said no, no, also no, and written up this book for so many mistakes. This wasn't one sneaky typo or complex semicolon issue. This was basic shit that should have been right, and it was so irritating and bad to read that the experience to physically read the words was painful. I don't think that was what the author should be going for. Category number 2, characters and nonsensical plots. So our main character, wow, was she a likeable person? No. Our main character was the most unlikable person, and it was obviously not intended to be that way. She was supposed to be the down-to-earth girl we were rooting for. As much as all her bad grammar in the narration aside, her character made no sense whatsoever. Her thought process pissed me off. One moment she's like, oh, where's my sister? I'm so scared for her. The next minute, nah, forget that bitch, I've got a date tonight. Then on the date, she goes, oh, I have to leave my sister. And the date's like, well, why didn't you cancel this earlier? And does the main character tell her the issue, or does she just run out the door and not explain a thing? You guessed it. Literally, that's what happens. So she's worried about her sister, then decides she doesn't care, goes on the date anyway. And then during the date, for no reason, without any prompting, just decides, oh, I can't be here, I must go home. And literally just runs out of her date without even explaining, oh yeah, by the way, my sister's missing and I'm worried. Like, she doesn't even, it would have taken 2 seconds for her to explain that, but she doesn't. And then later on, she's deciding, oh, well, I shouldn't be caring this much anyway. This girl's thought process was like a freaking yo-yo, and I don't understand how she swung in so many directions. It was so irritating. It should have been a build. You know, her going, oh, my sister's still not back. That's worrying. But, you know, I don't want to overreact. Oh, she's still not back. Oh, this is more worrying. Still not back? I'm really scared now. No. Over there, over there, over here, over there. It's hard to explain without you reading the book, but her thought process just makes no sense on a general basis. She'll randomly think of stuff when it's not even prompted. She'll just flip back and forth like a switch without any real reason or motivation or anything. She makes literally no sense as a character, and she's so unlikable. She was such a bitch to so many people in this book, and it made, again, no reasonable sense why. There's this one point where her best friend comes over to try and comfort her, and our main character sees her earrings and goes, ugh, she's so privileged, she's got nice earrings, I didn't have that kind of background, I'm poor. And I'm like, okay, this is your best friend, I get it. If you have sensitivity issues towards money, it could be a sensitive subject, but you know, why are you going full 100 angry at your best friend? And you're not telling her why you're suddenly pissed off with her, and your best friend's like, what the fuck, like, why are you suddenly angry at me? It's because she's wearing earrings that you think are too nice. Weird. And then literally a few pages later, they go out again, happy as Larry, as if nothing happened, and she starts laughing at homeless people. Not joking. They go out and they're taking pictures in front of restaurants or something. It's weird. They think it's funny to take pictures, and then she's seeing homeless people and making jokes about them and like laughing and making light of homeless people. How can you be so poor and so entitled and arrogant all at the same time? That makes no sense. Was the whole her being poor thing supposed to be a likeable trait? Well, you can't do that and then have her be a bitch to homeless people. What are you trying to do? Honestly, that really pissed me off, because she went 100% angry at the thought of her friend having nice things, and then was an arrogant, entitled bitch bag towards homeless people. And I'm like, those two things don't mesh. Either you're sensitive towards money or you're not. What? How can you be the worst of both? There are so many lines I read like that about like the homeless people, and I'd be like, are you kidding me? Are you trying to make me not like you? Are you trying? Because I generally don't understand. This character makes no logical sense in any way. Everything she does is the opposite of what a human would do. Her basic reactions to situations are completely extreme in opposite directions. It doesn't even read like a human being. She reads like a cat typing on a keyboard. It was frustrating, and I just wanted to punch this main character in the face so often. It was unreal. She was supposed to care about her sister, but then she would get overly obsessive, but then she would pull back, and she's like, oh, I can't go through my sister's things. But she's been missing for 3 days. At that point, who gives a fuck? It's weird. I can't explain it. Character arcs? Who is she? This book feels like they're where every time she was supposed to have a human reaction, the author just threw a dice and decided on the intensity or the direction of her emotions and her thought process and the plot. It makes literally no sense, and it's irritating, and I hate the main character. I think she was supposed to be a likeable main character. It's not like she was supposed to be an anti-hero or anything. She was supposed to be a well-rounded main character, and I don't even see her as a human being. Also, our second character, the other sister, in the beginning, she was the only thing keeping me going, because when I had snippets from the other sister, it was like, sanity. And I thought that our sister character made much more sense than our first main character, and then she went and ruined that, so there goes my thread of hope. Our sister also ended up not being a human being who makes any sense at all. So number 3, the plot and the mystery. What mystery? So this book was supposed to be a mystery about what happened to the sister, what's going on, what's she thinking, what's she doing, where is she? And the mystery was the worst. It's hard to be in the main character's corner. It's hard to worry with her and for the sister, because you're just so pissed off at the main character for being so blasé and then so overreacting. It's hard to feel for her. But when you do wonder where the sister's missing, you think, okay, the mystery. The book never really goes into any kind of clues about the mystery. It just says the sister's not here, our main character's fucking about deciding whether she cares or not, and it doesn't really give you any hints about what the sister's been doing. Then she starts going through her sister's things, and it's like a random assortment of junk. No way for you to ever be able to figure out or even think about what this could mean or the clues. And then it kind of fumbles along. The main character just doesn't know what the fuck's going on, and she interviews a random assortment of people who are far more likeable than she'll ever be, but not likeable enough to be good characters. So salty. And then the ending. The part of a mystery where everything comes to a head, the climax, the reveal. This made so little sense for the rest of the book. I don't know why I was surprised, but the climax of the mystery was so dull and bad and nonsensical like the rest of the book. I shouldn't have been surprised. So we kind of get to the end, and it's supposed to be this dramatic scene which it doesn't really make a lot of sense. It suddenly just all comes to a head. Nothing happens, nothing happens. Oh, and we're at the end now, okay. And instead of us working out the mystery with the main character, the ending just tells you. Classic show don't tell. It just tells you everything that happened, what the sister was doing, and it was uninteresting anyway. Basically, the sister had like this boy that she got obsessed with, and he had another girl, and it was awkward. Yeah, that's why the sister disappeared for days, because she was chasing this boy. And yeah, that was it. That's the end. I was so mad. Not only was the rest of the book garbage, but this ending, it was not exciting. It just told you everything that happened, and everything that happened was boring. This wasn't a mystery. It didn't give you the clues to a mystery. It was impossible to work out. It just told you what happened, and it wasn't even interesting. What was the point? I thought at the beginning the sister kind of made sense, and then by the end I was like, oh no, okay, she's just a crazy, nonsensical, not human being as well. Okay, got ya. This sister made no sense. She just became a psycho for no reason. And I thought this book was going to have an interesting mental health element, but no, these people are barely human beings, let alone interesting talks about mental health. That was far out of its reach, and it was just bad. But by the time I got to the end, it's not like I really cared about the ending anyway. So I guess it didn't really matter. You can't call a book a mystery and then have no mystery and it just be a, I wonder why my sister's been missing. Oh, that's why. The end. That's not a mystery. The plot was as nonsensical as the writing and the characters. At least that was consistent. Category number 4, the references. This one makes me irrationally angry, as if everything else before this hasn't. But this bit, this might have been the worst thing. I got so mad. So this book is a contemporary mystery. So like in any contemporary, you'll expect a few pop culture references here and there. You know, they're watching a movie that we know of, or they'll be listening to a song that we know of, and you'll expect a few little drops of pop culture scattered throughout. That's fine. That's normal. What's not normal is to shoehorn badly written, stupid metaphors of references in every other sentence. So much so that every time you read one, you want to smash your head against the wall until this book is erased from your brain. None of the references make any sense. They don't add anything to the story. And I kid you not, we're in every other sentence. There was literally 5 on a page. I'm not exaggerating. It was bad. It was so raging inducing to read. I didn't realise this was a trigger point I had, but apparently this author managed to do it so many times, it pushed a button I didn't know could exist. Lord of the Rings, K-pop, Star Trek, Harry Potter, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, literally you name a pop culture thing, it was in this book and it was shoved. And I'm talking shoved in. They weren't natural, they were odd, and none of them made any sense. So I'm gonna have to give you some examples for this, just to show you the kind of things it did. It has to be seen to be believed. The 100% worst offender for the pop culture reference overload was Lord of the Rings. Now, nothing wrong with the Lord of the Rings reference, but this book had them for literally everything, and I can't even tell you how many. I feel like I should go back and count how many there were, but I may just commit suicide during the middle of it, so I'm not sure I am capable of doing that. The Lord of the Rings references, it was traumatizing. Here are a few of the many examples where these Lord of the Rings metaphors or similes came into play, just to try and show you how god-awful they were to read. Being on the bus, she compared to being like Gollum. A man glowing was like the Eye of Sauron. Her dad opens the door and he walks through like Aragorn into Rohan. Frodo's smile was mentioned at least 50 times throughout the book. A Frodo smile, as if that's even a descriptor we use, as if we ever say a Frodo smile in life. And she even compared the McDonald's bathroom to being like Mordor. I shit you not, that's just a small sampling of the ones I remember. There were hundreds. Literally 5 times a page, she would shove a stupid Lord of the Rings metaphor into every sentence. At least 3 of them were on 1 page. It was insane. Even if you like the IPs, even if you are a Lord of the Rings fan, it is so irritating to constantly have these bad metaphors that make no sense and just sound ridiculous in this book. As if your character liking a TV show or a movie gives them a personality. Because who needs characterizations when you can completely piggyback off an IP? My boyfriend is actually a massive Lord of the Rings fan. He loves Lord of the Rings. I read out a few of these metaphors to him and he was groaning in pain. Whether you like the IPs or not, it is so irrationally irritating to constantly read these metaphors, and they're not even good metaphors. The McDonald's bathroom being like Mordor? What does that even mean? Literally, she explained nothing else. Like, it's not like it was dirty like Mordor or things were broken. She didn't even explain it. Didn't think to explain what that meant. I can assume what? Basically, this was the laziest writing technique I've ever seen. Should I think of creative and interesting metaphors? Nah, I'll just let another series do the work for me, and it will also give my character a personality. No, please no. I wish I was exaggerating how annoying this was. When you read 3 of these similes and metaphors every page, I'm not crazy, right? That's insane. That is ridiculous. The metaphors though make as little sense as the characters, the plot, and the writing. So like I said, at least this book has one element of consistency, and that's that it's bad. Honestly, the reference thing will forever have scarred me. I can't read a reference in a book now without thinking of that. I will never see pop culture references the same way again. This book has scarred me. It was so cringeworthy. I can't even explain to you. Reading it was pain. This book was intentional torture to drive me insane. I have no other reasonable explanation why this happened. I hated all of the characters, especially our main one. Honestly, I still can't believe it. The only mildly good thing about this book was the representation. It's one of the plus points when I read the description or the synopsis. One of the reasons I thought this book would be really good. It has some good representation. Our main character is a lesbian, she's black. We've got at least 2 different people of colour in this book. The 2 sisters are slightly different in race. I can't remember what. I tried to purge this book with my brain, to be honest. We've got the queer representation, we've got the race representation, and even that the author managed to make me hate, which hurts to say because representation is such a good thing to have. And yet in this book, like everything else, it managed to fucking irritate me. Our main character, her sister's gone missing, right? Instead of caring about that, I'm a lesbian. Did you know I'm a lesbian? I'm a lesbian. I like girls. Yes, I'm a lesbian. Yeah, did you hear I'm a lesbian? Yes, I'm a lesbian. We heard you. It was so again, shoehorned in. We have representation in this book. I get it, you want to shout from the rooftops about the representation in the novel, but because this main character was so unlikable, it just made her seem like an arrogant bitch. I don't even know how to describe it. If you have a black lesbian main character who goes on a date with a girl, because that was the date I mentioned, and it talked about the different ethnicities of the two sisters and the culture changes, the mother and the husband going on honeymoon to Japan, they loved K-pop, again, all the references. I liked the representation, but it should have spoke for itself. It could have spoke for itself and been a really great asset to this book. It just makes no sense. Instead of worrying if your sister was dead in a ditch or not, you're pissing around with your date. It's almost impressive that the author managed to take so many things that should be likeable, like beloved IPs and great representation, and still managed to make you hate it with every fibre of your being. Or at least with mine. I've seen some great, like 4 or 5-star reviews on GoodReads for this book at this point, and I still am convinced I got slipped a first draft by mistake, because I don't see. Like I said, I'm so not picky. I am the most easygoing reader. The characters and the plot was so nonsensical, robotic and frustrating. Nothing made sense. The mystery, what mystery? Everything you were supposed to like just irritated you. The references, did I mention the references? Anger and irritation were my biggest emotions through this book. It was so horrible of an experience to read because of the writing and everything else, and I wish there was some redeeming light that there could have been for this book, but there was not. It was awful. It has to be read to be believed, but I don't recommend it unless you like torture. And so that is my review for the 8 Pieces of Silver by Patrice Lawrence. I'm insane now. I've gone mad. You just have to trust me on this one. I'm so tempted to read some of those good reviews to see what people say, but I almost don't think my heart can take it. It would just irritate me. Maybe I'm crazy. I wasn't even in that bad of a mood. I had such high hopes for it. I really thought I was going to love this story, and it let me down so thoroughly in every possible way. I haven't hated a book this much in so long. I hope that my ranting and raving was entertaining to you, because I suffered through that whole book. I had to get to the end, and I had a few people say, why don't you just DNF it? And I was like, but it's my first arc from NetGalley and I can't just not finish it. But I was so close to just throwing my phone out the window. This book was rage-inducing, irritating and god awful, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just raving mad. If you enjoyed me ranting about this book, please let me know down below. Have you read a book that had things like this? Have you read a book where there were so many references, or where the sentence structure was bad, or where the character was so unlikable you just couldn't stand it? Please let me know down in the comments if you found this funny and what your most hated book is, and we can rant together and purge all of our thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this hot mess of a video, because this hot mess of a book, there was really no other way for me to talk about this book. I tried so hard to be organised in my thoughts, and I hope I came across with some semblance of structure, because this book had none. Like this video if you enjoyed it. If you like me doing more ranty videos, let me know, because I don't really do this kind of thing. So let me know if you enjoyed it, and comment down below. I can't wait to talk to you guys about things like this. The comment section is going to be so much fun for this video. I can't wait. Thanks so much for watching to the end. If you have, you are my heroes. I love you all, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.